Welcome to another episode of Breaking the Glass Ceiling. This is your host, Kofi Thompson here, and I'm super excited for my man, Craig Chapman.
Hey.
Welcome to the show, brother.
Oh man, appreciate it. Thank you for having me, King. Now this is truly a blessing, man. Nice suit, by the way, too, brother.
I
Did that. Did that. Did that.
appreciate you, man. And yeah, I
Yes, sir.
remember we had met a couple months ago at one of the standard events. And, I could, from like the initial interaction we had, I could tell that there was like, you had a light in you. You have this vibe and this energy that like, you look like the type of person, you come off as the type of person that has doing the things that they feel and are important in life and truly living in your purpose. You can really tell
Mhm.
the essence of people like when you meet them, like that energy you give off. And I was like, man, like I can tell this guy is truly purposeful and intentional, and I want to learn more about you, man. So I was like, ah, man, I have to
Man.
connect with this brother. And then like after, we like had a conversation on the phone and dive into it, I was like, man, like I knew what I saw was so true. And like this, the experiences that you've, overcome to get to where you are today, I believe truly tells a lot about the person you are today, man. So thank you
Yes,
again for
sir.
the show. So
Eh,
guys, if you don't know Craig, he's a business development and sales professional with a passion for wealth planning and credit rebuilding and investing. And in 2019, he turned his passion into a cause by starting Transformational Financial Solutions. And he also spends a lot of his time speaking to the community and local colleges about the importance of financial success. So again, I'm super excited to dive into it today with you, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Nah, man, I love it, man. Great introduction, too, brother. Yes, sir.
Absolutely, absolutely. So man, like I heard it and I already have like the download, the 411 on the journey that you went through in life. But I'd love for you to, just tell us about the challenges that you overcame and how you got to where you are today, because I truly think again, like
Wow.
more than what we have achieved and more than things we have, I believe the challenges that we've overcome in life truly
Mm,
in so many different
yes,
ways.
sir.
I'd love for you to tell your story to the audience about, how you got to where you are today, brother.
Oh man. Well, thank you for the question, bro. So when it pertains to my journey, oh man, I give y'all a pre-warning. So sound like some old Mr. Donald type vibes, but I'm a farm boy from Eastern North Carolina, raised on the farm. We had hogs, chickens, goats. I think we had a cow too before I was born. My family was really big in agriculture. We grew tobacco, cotton, soybeans, like the whole, yeah. Out in the prairies, that was my lifestyle growing up. Actually, I have on my desk, that's actually me and my grandfather, my first horse. Just to show you truly, man, this the country life has been everything for me. That was my upbringing. And I say what it really taught me being raised on the farm was not just the aspects of, you know, how to be sustainable by yourself, but really the essence of hard work. One thing that my father really instilled to me at a very young age is taking care of your home. One of my chores and my tasks from middle school to high school, so even when I came home during college, was I had to feed all our animals before I ate. What it taught me was the responsibility of one, getting up before you're hungry. Because man, when you're trying to live 40-pound bags of feed to feed 8 horses, hogs, chickens, man, it can wear anything, any type of nutrition that you have in your body out very fast. So
Facts.
it really motivated me to make sure I got up early enough so therefore I can go back to bed or at least have something else to do throughout my day. But ultimately, raised on the farm, played football in high school, ended up getting blessed with an amazing opportunity to take my education to another level. Went to North Carolina A&T where I received 3 business degrees. After graduating from there, I then started my career here in Dallas, Texas.
Mm.
Started out selling dog food. I was actually a territory salesman for uh, a company called Purina. Purina was one of the top 2 or 3 dog food companies at the time. So coming straight out of college, going in the corporate world for a very successful company was, man, it was amazing, amazing challenge, but amazing journey. It taught me about not only the sales, but corporate sales, how to build relationships, how to develop. And these are the same skill sets I use in my own business today.
Mm,
So whether you are an entrepreneur or you are in the corporate space, man, learn every aspect of life that you are a part of, because it can really take you to the next level if you do decide to start your own business. After leaving Purina, brother, that's when that light that you saw was almost like a candle just starting to be lit, right? It was just flittering, right?
mm-hmm,
And man, when I say me and God went on a journey, brother, it went from I started as a relocation manager for ADT Home Security,
mm-hmm.
a web consultant at Alpha Internet. I started a roofing company between me and my friends. I left the roofing company, started working for a car dealership, stopped doing that, got a job as a territory sales manager for Reliant Energy, went back to the car dealership, and then I started my company in 2019. So
Wow.
literally it took seven transitions to even understand what my purpose was. And now for the last 4 years, I've been very blessed and fortunate to now help over close to 700 people transform their lives through my process of not only credit repair, but understanding truly how to leverage financial literacy to help you grow financially, as well as help your purpose grow. Because I think that the whole true aspect of why we even doing life, right, is what you said earlier, Kofi, is to really focus on allowing your purpose to be the thing that people know you by. People will be able to see that your light shining, and this for you to do really what God called you to do, which was to be a light of His glory. So, ultimately, man, if people can find that peace of financial that freedom, I think it will help people now walk towards that light a little bit faster.
Man, 1,000% agree with that, brother. And thank you for diving into that. And, you know, I'm sure through many of these different things, like there was a lot of different transitions. I'm sure it wasn't always just like, smooth sailing. So, like, what were some of the biggest challenges you faced, prior to the point at which you were starting, your company, Transformational Financial Solutions? Like, what were some of those big challenges you might have faced early on in the career, or even like personally, professionally, that you had to overcome, early on?
Man, all right. So one of the biggest challenges that I faced during my process was understanding my direction.
Okay.
Like when you are blessed with a gift, that gift can be done or utilized in so many different spaces. The gift that God gave me just had to be my ability to communicate and build relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was put into a new job role, for the majority of the time, that top 10% was always a place where I hit. So if I, was selling suits at Men's Warehouse, or if I was, that's another job I did in college. But selling cars, I always did pretty well. May not the best, but I always stayed within that first 10% or the 5% of that company.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have the ability of gift to do pretty decent in everything that you do, how do you know what's the right thing for you? And
Facts.
so I went down all these different lanes where I thought was, okay, yeah, I'm getting these big commission checks. I'm building a book of business. I'm doing well in the company. And then you make a shift. You make a
Mm-hmm.
shift. It's like, man, I felt to the point, I was like, bro, you're not consistent. You can't stay locked in and nothing. So I really thought it was a me problem. But one thing that I will say just to talk about is the glory of God, brother. Even though every time I did rise to the top in those industries, the shift that God made were meant for me to be in this very exact place. From selling cars, bro, I live in Texas, Dallas, Texas. It's so hot down here during the summertime, and they want us to be suited and booted. Man, bro, what you got on right now, man? We had to wear ties, King. We couldn't even be fly with the button out, bro. We straight
Man,
ties and suits because it was a family-owned dealership. So we had a certain image. And because of that, bro, when I tell you hot, my boy, now if uncomfortable moment, that was it. Wearing this in hours, and you got to be outside because the cars don't drive inside the dealership to ask if they want to buy a new one. No, you
fact.
got to be the first they see. So, bro, you running through the whole drive with the Stacey Adams on, cuz because you want to be the first one to introduce yourself. So those transitions made me now a go-getter when it pertains to me building a book business. Because I don't mind speaking first. I don't mind doing the introduction. I don't mind being hot no more. Just because I was able to overcome those situations in the past. And now, as I mentioned, have prepared me for the things of my current day. So
Man, that's so awesome, man. I appreciate you sharing that. For many different reasons. One, you know, yeah, I believe it's so important to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And oftentimes we'll be in situations in life where we're not facing the most ideal situations. Again, maybe you're out there wearing that full and double-breasted suit. It's 100 degrees outside, and you gotta sit there and be like, man, I gotta focus on how I can, make sure I'm, showing up in a good way that people are going to, be comfortable having a conversation with me, and then really focus on someone instead of how hot and sweaty I am, so I can then, give them a great service and then, get them to purchase a car. And it comes across in many different ways. It's not just it. And I believe that oftentimes people can be way too accustomed to comfortability and not realize that, like, when you're in those spaces, when you're always comfortable, you're never going to grow. That's the reality. And you always, like, I think that sometimes life will put us in these situations. But if not, we have to put ourselves in situations where we'll be uncomfortable, because that's when we are truly able to, like, build and like grow, because it's just like, building a muscle, right? Like, you're not going to, get stronger by just doing doing 2 or 3 push-ups, something you can easily do. You got to strain yourself, you got to push yourself to the limit of the boundary. And what you'll find oftentimes is that your body will adapt to
mm-hmm.
that circumstance. I think that's one thing people often forget. Like, our bodies have evolved to be like the best at adaptation. So like there's always situations like we may not, feel initially that we can handle this, but like you'd be surprised if you start doing it, like you will adapt when you get there. And another thing I really liked about, just your journey is that like you tried so many different things like on the way to like what you're doing, now and today. And I believe that oftentimes some people, like, they want to find their purpose way too soon without actually, trying it out, which I believe that a lot of times people are generally misguided, saying like, hey, like, absolutely find work that you're passionate about, but like know that if you haven't done anything yet, it's going to be very difficult to actually find what that passion is, because you learn through
Exactly.
experience. That's the reality.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I
Yes, sir.
going to figure out like what is the best sport for me to play if I haven't played a single sport. I could sit there all day and be like, okay, tennis would seem pretty cool. I get a racket, but I don't know, basketball, I get to dunk. It's a lot of fun. Like, I'm just never gonna know, like, until I actually get in the game and actually start doing different things. So I feel like if
That's
you
so true.
may be at a position where you're like, man, like, I haven't, found my purpose, like, just start doing things, like start taking opportunities, start doing things that may highlight your skills, like, and just go out there and don't have that mentality that, hey, this has to be the final thing, because oftentimes it's a stepping stone, and oftentimes you'll pick up different, lessons, and pick up different skills that you can then use and take into the new endeavors that you're, now pouring into in life. So no, I love, just your journey and
Yeah.
how you went about it. So, I mean, you went through a lot of different, things, and went through a lot of different, careers. And I'm sure that some of them, you were more successful. Some of them may not have been like as successful as you thought about. But like, at any point, did you like feel like giving up? Like did that ever cross your mind, or like was there always something?
So I gotta tell you, man, no, because
Mm,
what I came from was so much worse than
yeah.
what Dallas had to offer that it was no way I could even imagine going back home. In
Mm,
2019, actually the same year I started my business, was the second time my savings account went completely negative, bro.
mm,
And that very moment, I'm like, God, you just gave me this vision for this business. A month later, I'm started. I got one customer, but literally, I spent her invoice on just keeping my lights on in my apartment. Is this really my purpose? Because I don't even have nothing to show for it.
yeah.
At this point, what's gonna happen? But then I realized if I ever gave up, that gave up will put me back home on that farm, probably working for my father who pours concrete for a living. Been doing it for over 45 years. My father, man, I give him two of those, brother. I don't know if you ever poured concrete before. It's a rough job. He's
Mm-mm.
been doing it for 45 years. It's the hardest work I ever did in my life, honestly. So when you think about a job, especially a job with a college degree, the hardest thing that we actually do per day from physical activity is probably pressing a mouse or shuffling the keyboard or walking back and forth to meet our customers.
Yeah.
Literally, bro, depends on your job site. You may be carrying 200 pounds of mud and rocks in the wheelbarrow to the
Yeah.
back of somebody's house that can be 15, 20, sometimes even 50 feet, and you can't spill none of that concrete on that grass, or you got to go pick it back up.
Oh man.
Doing that for hours just to get a of what we call freedom. Man, my dad, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. I couldn't work for him. He don't pay
Yeah.
enough. He
Yeah.
don't pay enough. You know what I'm saying? It was cool when like, oh, your payment is the clothes in your bag and the shoes in your closet.
Yeah.
I don't need that stuff no more. You know what I'm saying? But all in all, when you have that mindset of it can be so much worse,
Yeah.
you don't have the mindset to give up because you know that you're in a space of opportunity. You
Hmm.
know, like I said, being raised on that farm, bro, to being, man, I gotta show you this right quick, bro. Being downtown Dallas, come
Yeah.
on. Like, man, never would imagine if you really have any ounce of faith in yourself and your abilities. Just stay on that. Don't
Yeah.
look at the world. Don't look at the things around you. That stuff doesn't matter. Your
Back.
purpose will prevail in any space you in,
Yeah.
bro. The day I found out my purpose, never forget it. Never forget it. I'm out here selling cars at one of the worst car dealerships probably
Yeah.
in the state of Texas. And bro, I just knew I hit a home run, bro. So I
Mhm.
explained the story to you. This was the day credit repair came to mind. So at the dealership, like I said, we walking the pavement, the scenes, the car pull up. I see this Nissan Pathfinder look pretty decent. Pull up, run to the car. Hey, how you doing, man? Oh, my name is Dr. XYZ. I don't disclose the name for privacy, but she's a dentist, right?
Mhm.
So she says to me, hey, I've been looking at these new Tahoes. They are ready to buy one. So I'm like, home run. I got a doctor. I know she got good credit. I know she got a lot of money. It's the easy car sale. And the thing about it, I just needed one more car sale to hit my bonus. This new guy, he had all the control, brother. So we do the test drive. I find the nicest Tahoe that our dealership had. Like literally, the owner of the dealership drove this car around for a couple of days. Just that's how supreme it was. Get in the car, she's loving every feature. I'm showing her where the pop-up screen is. Man, we get back to the dealership. I say my famous line to her. If I can make the terms and conditions work on your favor, would you like to take this vehicle home today? She's like, I want to take it home tomorrow. So, cuz I just come in the dealership skipping. I got a car. Here. Bro, we lit. I got my boy to go ahead and detail it so we get her in and out because I knew her time was very important.
Yeah. Yeah.
Took the paperwork back to the finance guy. Hey, boss man, hey, this is Dr. XYZ. Let's get in, get her out. She has some other things to do tonight. He pulls up her paperwork, type in her social security. He started to laugh. I'm like, whoa, what's funny? I know she got an 800 credit score. He was like, yeah, in another lifetime. I'm like, whoa, hold on. Maybe I wrote the social security wrong. Let me go write it again. Go back out there. I let her write it this time. I give it to him. He said, yeah, brother, it's the same thing. Long story short, she had a 498 credit score.
Wow.
Now, the doctor
Wild.
who makes, bro, she had a file cabinet. Let me see, do I have one? Bro, she walked in the dealership with one of these, bro. I'm like, what is all this for? Hey, I'm thinking like she about to pay cash or something.
Yeah.
And I realized the briefcase was a plead case on why we should move forward the transaction. Even when he went through and looked at her increase, she went to 7 other dealerships before she came to me, literally all in the same week. So I go back out there and I'm like, hey, doctor, okay, we got an option. So you can take home this vehicle today, but I'm gonna need 2 things from you. So she looks at me, smiling, happy, like, oh yeah, I finally got approved. Brother, when I tell you these terms, you're gonna be like, oh, that's crazy. He was like, okay, well, what I gotta do? I said, I'm gonna need a cosigner, and I'm gonna need you to put down $28,000. As I said at $28,000, literally the light went off, bro. If this doctor who has some great education from some great university still struggles with financial literacy, and I've seen in her paperwork, she had made well over $2 or $3 million since she's been in business.
Mm-hmm.
If she struggles with credit, how many millions of other people have the same problem? Also, in that very moment, I realized if I had a solution for her to help her not pay $28,000, what would be the value for that? And how much value could I now give to people to give them freedom within their finances?
Yeah.
And at that very moment, bro, that was the purpose. That was the calling. And for the people out here listening, man, if you do not know what your purpose is, your purpose 9 times out of 10 is that small feeling that you get when you realize something in your life that you have heard, you have seen, you have felt not being done correctly or not being done to the masses of people. Was you may be receiving the service or that thing in the correct manner? What's a way to make that thing better? And that thing's gonna burn inside of you too. You allow it to be manifested. I remember hearing about credit repair companies.
Yeah.
This is like 2018. I'm like, man, I don't know. I got decent credit, but I was lucky. I came from a mom who was an accountant. So it was not, hey, this is how you leverage credit cards. This is, hey, don't use no credit card or pay back off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You usually
So
talk
it
about
was scared. It's scared credit. You know what I'm saying? You don't know how to leverage it. You don't know how to do the tools. And from going from that to now seeing this need, bro, the moment I started studying about credit, I became obsessed. Like, bro, since I've been in the credit space, I have spent more money on credit education than I did my college degree.
Yeah.
And that's with 3 business degrees. So when I say this is just not something I make money from, no, this is a passion, because the better I understand this, the more people I can help. But yeah, King. Now, thank you for that question, brother.
I love it, man. I love it.
Felt that one.
Yeah, I appreciate you diving into that, man, because you know, there's so many people that, do continue to struggle with like these areas in life. And through your experience with working people, you realize that like, it's good not to judge a book by its cover. We all heard that quote when we were growing up, but it really rings true because like the reality is that like, more than 60% of people aren't prepared for retirement. Most people don't have $1,000, in an emergency account, the like, even just a lot of the basics that you hear when it comes to especially finances, like, a lot of people just aren't doing. And it, sometimes it's due to lack of education, sometimes due to lack of exposure, or like sometimes just like, fear or pride can get in the way as well too. There's a lot of different causes. And the, reality is for a lot of people, like, it doesn't matter if they're making 50,000 or 500,000, like they could still be in a position where they're not doing well financially. I've absolutely
Yeah.
met people that make 6 7 figures and they're living paycheck to paycheck before we get together. I'm like, man, like it's so important to be taking the right actions, because not only does it provide more security for you, it also like makes things cheaper. Like when you have good credit, when you when you're doing these things right, like you are like life is easier when it comes to for example, getting a car or getting a house. So like I'm curious, do you feel like everyone has that capability to achieve financial success? Because the reality is that most people don't. Like the majority of people aren't there. And if you do feel like everyone can, what do you think holds most people back?
Great question. So, to answer question number one, can everybody have financial freedom? Yes. Now, do people have the management skills in order to do so? Probably not. And do the second thing, do people have the discipline? I got a vest on that I know for my motorcycle, bless you. Um,
Thank you. Mhm.
and on the back of it says freedom's not free. In order to have the freedom of lifestyle, you have to put in some type of work. You have to put some type of effort. And I'll be real with you, man. The biggest of it all is we chase something that we don't know anything about. And if I was to ask the average person, could they name 5 presidents on the dollar bills? The average person don't know that. They
Mm-mm.
don't even know how money's made. If the money's backed up by gold or when they're standing stop, like people do not even know. The average person don't even know what the central bank is.
Yeah.
Or like what's the U.S. trust? What they do. So when you do not know these principles, not simple, but these principles about money, but all you do is spend your life working for it. Ah man, we doing life backwards
Hmm.
because we chasing a thing that cannot be chased. You can never have all the money, especially in the United States right now. We keep printing dollars. So that's why the money is changing in value. It's no
Yeah.
longer backed by anything. So honestly, cash is just like credit nowadays. It's intangible because as long as those printers are still rolling, oh man, the American dollar is shrinking.
Yeah.
And so to just kind of sum it up, if we took more time and more effort into understanding our finances, if not us having understanding, hire somebody who does.
Hmm.
Learn about the thing that you spend majority of your life doing. Majority of your life is spent away from your family to have this thing that if you be for real, do you need it to survive? Yes. But it's not of true value. If we started to really shift our minds that time is more important than money, oh, king, it'd be a whole different world. Because then
Facts.
you put, when your priorities in the right space, you can build savings. Because at the end of the day, if I know I got food in my kitchen, I don't need to go to Ruth Chris to go buy a steak. I
Yeah.
can eat what I got. And there's nothing wrong with splurging. I go to steakhouse all the time. But because I sit my butt home Monday through Friday
Yeah.
and eat the stuff in my house. So when there is an abundance of stuff or abundance of funds, I
Yeah.
can do that and not worry about hitting my safety. But yes,
Absolute
King.
facts, man. No, you're so right. Like, I believe that a lot of times people don't realize that, they're driving up the share price of their favorite designer, but not driving up the share price of their legacy, man. Like they're going through and, paying everyone else, supporting all the businesses, doing all the things, but they're not thinking about their own financial situations. And I mean, we live in a consumer culture. So like we are oftentimes like I think the average person receives, I don't know, it's something crazy, like an advertisement, like on average of every like 10 seconds or something in a day. Like it's like, we're constantly, also being told that like, we are falling short in areas or we're not enough. So like, get this thing to feel better, whatever it is. So like, you really got to cut out the noise and focus on like what you actually want down the road, like what you want, like if you want a legacy, like what position do you want to be in 10, 20, 30 years? Like all these different things are so important. You got to cut out noise a lot of time so you can then say, all right, like how can I be more intentional with each of my actions? And make sure that I'm doing the things that can lead to success, whether it be financial or in really any other space in life. Like it requires
Right.
personality. And, you know, the wind favors the man who sets his sail. So like when you have direction, when you have clarity on where you're going, you're gonna find that like you will start moving in that direction. But like, I find it oftentimes, pretty I mean, I guess I'm a bit biased because obviously I'm a financial planner, I'm a financial advisor, I do this stuff on the daily for people, but like I find it like a little funny how some people feel like, if they don't have a plan at all, that they feel like they're going to get to their goal. Like, they
Come on.
just they have like this like dream in their mind, like, man, I'm going to have, millions of dollars. I'm going to have all this stuff like that. And like, how are you going to do it?
Come on.
Because the math is numbers. It
Yeah,
really,
yeah.
really just comes down to numbers. And we all took, the basic math classes. We know that 2 + 2 = 4. Like
Yes,
you're
sir.
not going to get 10, out of nowhere. You got to do the proper math to
Yes,
figure it out.
sir.
And it's so important. Like when like everyone I know that has a plan and has a vision, usually those things like have a much higher probability of success. But when you don't, like, it just becomes so much more difficult. So
Yes,
like
sir.
I want to dig into like, just, the mindset around finances because I imagine that like with your experience working with people financially and then also, implementing and building different skills yourself, I'm sure a lot of your beliefs and mindset towards money and finances have changed. So what are like maybe some of the, beliefs or mindsets you have around money that have significantly changed, throughout your journey and experience of building your expertise and like how some of your perceptions around money change, like some of the biggest beliefs you've had,
Yes,
um,
sir.
yeah, throughout your journey.
Everything that I thought I knew about money,
Mm,
no, I didn't understand the true value. I didn't know how it was made. I didn't understand what was truly a good trade-off for money.
mm-hmm,
But observing my peers, my family, my friends, people I ambition to be more light in the financial world, one common thing was viewed. For the people who had more success, they knew more about finances. They read more books. They traveled more places. They had more exposure to more things. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with country living where you have your community and you stay within that community because you can master and be that one-stop shop for your local town and break it all in. So it's not even just the aspects of where you're located, but how open and how risky you were to believe in yourself. So we look at Oprah, right? We look at Tyler Perry. We look at some of these moguls that's in our, demographics, right? And we look at Bill Gates and we look at, even Donald Trump, right? Oh, Donald. And we see how these people are known for one thing. Oprah, her talk show, right? She cultivates these lies. Tyler Perry, his movies. Donald Trump, Donald Trump, he's a whole brand
Yeah,
himself.
yeah,
So Donald Trump being Donald Trump. But as all these people, we know them for doing one type of thing very, very well.
yeah.
And because they did that, and because they stayed consistent, they was able to shine. So one of the first things I realized, there's nothing wrong with being a jack of all trades. Don't get me wrong. I done worked so many jobs. I got so much knowledge about so many different things. That was really my middle name for years.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at that quote, it says, hopefully I get it correct, a jack of all trades, but never a master of none. But if you continue to read, it then says, I'd rather be a master of many than a master of just one. Oprah didn't just have the vision to be a talk show host. She was a relationship builder. She was a risk taker. She had other skills that supported her main purpose. And I think sometimes, again, and I know it's a little far stretched off the money talk, but if we spend more time to develop self instead of developing Bojangles or Ruth Chris working for them or other people's dreams and put that energy back into ourselves, the money will automatically come because people are willing to pay for your gift.
Yeah.
These people, they have these massive success because they have a big gift they won't afraid to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes when you are working for a assembly line and you turn two screws to the left, I ain't no hold you. Your gift
Yeah.
is cool because you are part of the process.
Yeah.
But how valuable is that? And if we put our high value, because God gave us all the light, but if we really walk out on faith and move forward with that one concept, that one dream, that one direction, it would then allow the value of ourselves to be portrayed out to other people, where therefore, and now that financial peace that you've all been seeking to have, is present. It now chases after you. It chases after your voice, whether you're in front of a client or you on a podcast. It go to YouTube, it go to Instagram, it go to TikTok. It goes anywhere where you press because people want to see that. People want to hear that. People value that.
Yeah.
And if you put that value to the public, somebody's going to buy it. I don't care if you got 3 followers on Instagram. If those 3 followers like your pictures every single time and you drop something, they don't support you. Just we got to be better at creating value. If we create value, finances come. And that value just not for ourselves. Give the value to the people.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say for real, man, the biggest things I learned about money, how can I help people? Drake said it in his song not too long ago. He said, more money, more problems. Give me the problems. Man, no, wreck them in. Please, everybody, your credit bad, you call me. Call me. You want to build a business and you got a decent credit score, you call me. I can get you the money. You see what I'm saying? Give me the problems because the more problem you fix, the more people willing to buy it.
Yeah.
And that's the value that comes in. You don't chase money. No. Chase your value.
Mm-hmm.
If we put more time into our value than Dior, than Louis, than video games. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with taking time to have that freedom of creativity. Because sometimes video games, bro, they allow you to take your mind to other places that may allow you to come back to your reality and bring something different in. But I will say, man, if we just put a little more time into our value, money is a byproduct.
I 1,000% agree with that, man. I believe that is something that a lot of times people don't see or understand about money is that like it truly is a representation of something that is valuable. Like if you think about the reason why currency was created, it was so we all could have a common denomination and we, didn't necessarily have to have something that someone else wanted in order to trade, right? Like before, you would think about it like this, right? If I had an apple tree and you had an orange tree, yeah, it worked great if I wanted apples, or yeah, I want oranges and you want apples. But
Right,
then
right.
you're like, man, like I would love a piece of bread, and I'm like, man, I don't have any bread. You have to have a common way to like, exchange things of value in order to, have a properly functioning society at the end of the day. So that's all
Yes, sir.
really is. So when you think about it like that, like, okay, like the more value you're able to give, like you literally create money. Like those people out there that have done a lot, that have built, massive net worths, that have, built these empires, they've also done a lot in the world. They've
Yes,
all
sir.
created a lot of different things. They've impacted people's lives. So if you think about how can I, increase my impact, what skills can I build that people need? What types of knowledge can I gain so that I can be resourceful for someone else? The money, again, yeah, it's just a byproduct of that. And
Yes,
I feel
sir.
like a lot of times people want to skip that process, right? We live in this microwave society where people want to, now use AI to, do all the things for them and all that different stuff. And I feel like people are very misguided that like you got to build the skills, because those are the
Mhm.
things that like no one can take away. Like,
Yes, sir.
you see, like I know there's some story about Donald Trump. Like at one point, he was like, he lost everything, and he was like, in debt, like a couple $1 billion. And like he used to
Mhm.
walk by, he'd walk by someone that was homeless and be like, wow, that guy's like doing better than me. Like I'm in debt a couple $1 billion. Like that guy's, doing better than me. But what he didn't lose was his skills and his knowledge and his expertise. And when you gain those more like when you gain those intrinsic qualities, like that like you can always create value, you can always create something, from that.
Mhm.
Man, I really appreciate you sharing that, brother. Like it is, I mean, it's just something that I feel like if people can grasp, they really can help a lot of their financial struggles that they oftentimes will experience, if they're able to grasp those concepts there. Man, so like I know you've had a lot of experience, also in like sales in the various positions you've had. So do you
Yes,
feel
sir.
your perception or ideas towards sales have like changed, um
Mm.
since, with your career and your experience? Because
Oh, yes.
yeah,
Oh, man. Bro. So, where do we start, man? So, what I thought sales were to what I live now is completely different. Just because you have to have a different type of heart.
yeah,
When you talk to people about their finances, bro, you don't know where this conversation will go. It may get spiritual. It may get super religious. It may get political. Bro, when I tell you I get on the phone, you be like, yo, how do we even get to the subject?
yeah.
But one of the biggest things that I realize about sales is the people you interact with are not even buying a product at first. They're actually buying you. If you get on any sales call, any presentation, and you focus on the product, you just took a mark or a step back from actually closing the deal.
Mm-hmm.
When selling, if you want to really maximize your sales skills, from my own personal perspective, it's not about you. It's
Yeah,
about the client's needs. If you
yeah,
don't ask the right questions from the very beginning, bro, you guessing, you crossing your fingers like, I really hope they want to buy this because I, I'm not going to sell it to them. They just buy it because they want the product. No, that's mediocre salesmanship. If you don't sell, then you gotta sell with one integrity. People want honesty. People want to know that if they buy from you, they're actually getting a product you said or you claim it to be. The
yeah,
second thing that people buy is honestly someone who is likable. I ain't gonna lie. I never brought an item from somebody that I was like, I can't stand this person. Like they don't. I never did, and it could be almost free, and I'd be like, I'm good because it comes from you.
Yeah.
Like, and don't get me wrong, like I try to love all people, but we have a couple of people be like, man, I wouldn't buy free Skittles from me. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, like no, sir. Then the last thing overall, what people really want to buy is a solution.
Mm-hmm.
If you ask the right questions, they don't tell you exactly what it is. When I used to sell cars, man, if I see a family coming to the dealership, they buy for two reasons. One, she might got one in the oven and they need a bigger vehicle. Or two, it's no longer reliable. So when I saw that, I'm like, oh, this is a car deal because I know they are here for a reason. They got three kids. They do not want these kids running around this dealership, but they actually have to be here. So because they're here, let me understand how big their issue is.
Mm.
If we start position ourselves in sales as a solution finder, as a solver, as a true consultant of the field of sales, we will close more deals.
Yeah.
Because now we go to the presentation hoping and guessing they want to buy what I have to present. No, they would tell us they want to buy it. When that family sits down in front of me, be like, ooh, ooh, my knees. Oh, that car was tight. They was squeezed in there. Cuz had the chair pulled up because the kids was in the back. If they walk around and it's like, man, it's hot in here. Well, ma'am, sir, you just got your car. That means your AC's not working. We in Texas. They needed some help. Different mannerisms of your potential client can literally show you the direction of where their needs stand at and their priorities. If you also look around and you see, hey, they may be a little bit tighter on budget, you know, you got to be able to find a solution. And if you find that solution, you're nice and they trust you. I say people buy from you for three reasons. They trust you, they like you, and you have a solution. If
Mm-hmm.
you can get two of these, you got a deal. It may not be on that closing date, but you still, they don't rock with you because you deliver. Now, how I do business now, of course, I apply that concept, but now it's about how can I not only sell them this product that's going to be a better solution for them, but how can I bring their service that's going to be so good that the moment they see it begin to work, they're going to tell somebody else about my business.
Yeah.
Without asking for the referral. No, no, no. Don't even ask for it. I like to make them want to tell other people. Because in that first 30 days or 45 days I process, they see their score go up 50 points, or they walk away from my consultation knowing more about their credit than they ever did before, or I show them how, hey, if we follow through with the solution, so save you $10,000 of credit card debt, bro, I've seen people cry during these consultations because now they can finally feel the pressure being relieved from them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not about just having that solution or being a nice guy. No, sometimes you got to be a guy who is really caring and concerned about helping people.
Yeah.
So if you do not have a heart to serve, I don't think sales is the right job for you. If
Mm-mm.
you want to do it the right way, I mean, anybody can be a snake, but for the good people, that really want to do business the right way, man, serve. It ain't even about selling, it's about serving.
1,000%, man. Wow, I appreciate you diving into that. There's a couple of things there I want to highlight. One, like people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Mm-hmm.
That's the simple reality. And, you can have all the knowledge in the world and you can have all the different things, but if you're not actually like one listening to people and
Right.
understanding what their goals are, like again, you could have the best solution. Like someone could be going out there looking for, a an Audi RS4 with, the full package and all the different things like that. And you may have that
Mm-hmm.
hard, but if you don't actually end up like listening to them or like asking like good questions or like really trying to solve their problem, like again, you're never going to get anywhere. I believe that's such a great mindset to have around, sales. Like, I started to do better when I started to look at myself as a problem solver. And, I was going to go to medical school prior to, becoming a financial professional. And so I really kind of took this like outlook, like, okay, I feel like whenever I meet someone, I'm like a doctor, right? And I'm just trying to see like if they have a problem to solve. Like if they don't have a problem to solve, then I can't solve their problem, right?
Right.
Maybe it might be something down the road. I give them a great experience, but I'm really just trying to see like, okay, do they have something where I can provide a, better solution that can help them overcome whatever obstacle, that they're facing. And again, that really, I think a lot of times, like where a lot of people that call themselves sales professionals go wrong is they focus so much on like what their like ideas are, like how they feel about a thing, and they're like, man, like this person needs to do this because like it's obvious or whatever. And like I'm sure you've probably heard like the phrase like buyers are liars or whatever it is, like all these different things that like a lot of salespeople will say. But I'm like, no, like you're just not like actually listening to the people that you have and addressing their concerns and goals at the end of the day. Because that is really what, is important. And I know that for me, like, I mean, I think there has been some people that I may have bought from that I didn't particularly like just because I knew I needed it. And it was probably something, it was probably like a product or something where I knew I wouldn't
Right.
have continued interaction with them. But with that in mind, though, like you can tell when you have an experience with someone that actually is they're listening to you, is actually concerned about where you're at, and is not just trying to like, I've had solutions shoved down my throat, and I'm just like, nah, this does not feel good. Like don't just like, like I get calls all the time just because, of the work nature I do. I'm all, my information is posted everywhere. I get calls all the time for people trying to sell me things, and like oftentimes it's just like, hey, this is what I do, all these different things. There's not a single question about whether or not I even need what they do.
Yes,
Like,
sir.
and I'm like, man, like, it's like it's so again, I think it's so important. And another thing I wanted to highlight, and one of the reasons why I kind of dived into that is because I feel like for me, my perception of sales has actually changed immensely with my experience. I believe like when I first got into the career, I always thought it was like very like, man, I didn't want to get into sales. Like I never want to be called someone that was in sales because I was like, man, this like feels icky. I think of like used car salesman. Like it just seems like some like I don't want to be like I'm an academic. Like I don't want to be, I'm not a, salesperson. But then I realized like, it's really just like problem solving. And a lot of the reasons why people have those biases is because they have been exposed to people that aren't very good at this profession, or they see, in the movies on media, people that, approach it from a very selfish, self-centered, way. But true for me, in my opinion, true great, sales professionals are really some of the best problem solvers, and they're experts
Mm-hmm.
as well too.
Yes,
They
sir.
understand, you know, how things work. They understand better ways of doing things. And they also take that time to listen to the people that are, they're talking to, their prospective clients and their current clients to, again, like helping someone achieve the goal that they have, not the
Right.
goal that you have.
Right.
I think that's so powerful, man. So yeah, thank you for sharing that experience. So as we're wrapping up here, man, it flew by so fast. I was like,
Oh
yeah,
man.
we could talk for hours, I know,
Yes,
but
sir.
as we're wrapping up here, man, I have a couple final questions I want to dive into. So,
Okay.
you've had, again, you've had quite a lot of experience, and you're at this point where you've gone through, different career, different jobs, you've built relationships. I'm sure you've learned, an immense amount. So I want to give you a scenario. Let's like fast forward and say, you've been able to complete all the things that you want to complete in your life. You were able to have an amazing impact on your community, on the world, with your expertise. And you're now at this point on your deathbed where, you're able to give three pieces of advice, to the world to help them, achieve and fulfill, their purposes and their dreams. What three pieces of advice would you leave people
Mm,
at that point?
man. So great question, by the way. The first point And that is the very first one. Seek ye first the kingdom. If you do not know who God is, man, I'm telling you, your journey will be so much longer, so much harder. And that purpose that you've been seeking, it's going to be so much harder to find. Knowing who your Heavenly Father is will help you understand so much about yourself that your purpose will really just be in line. Um, the second portion, never give up, regardless of what the scenario may be. There may be some light in every dark room. Regardless, I'm talking about doctor says you only have 10 days to live. You live them 10 days. Like, you do not give up. Because I learned in life is it's either it's no L's. Like, you don't take L's. It's lessons or blessings. And if you live life with that mindset on a consistent flow, you don't have bad days. You may have days where you learned a lot. You know, them learning days, man, they ain't not that comfortable. Like,
Ah,
you,
yeah.
yeah, he might put that thing on, you know what I'm saying? But you know not to go that direction no more, or do that thing, or not take that advice from that person. Like, it's God's grace over us is so amazing. Even for us who don't even have a relationship, He still take care of you. So just imagine once you do have that. But the third point I would say is, I said don't give up. I said seek God. The last point I would say, man, love other people. Like, don't get me wrong, we live in a world right now that's so much pain and so much hurt. It's almost like because it's such a trendy topic. Not saying people are not going through real things in life, but if we really just started loving on people, a lot of this pain that we do feel in this world, it won't feel as bad. It won't hurt as much
Mhm.
because we know that we're not doing this by ourselves anymore. Last year, um, listen, get personal. My mom, she ended up getting diagnosed with stage 2 cancer. Went
Mm.
through chemo, went through radiation. And even those moments where it's like, man, my God, I know you in control, work everything out. Man, I was able to take the time to really dive into my mom's life, really spend as much time because we just didn't know the outcome, right? And because of that, mom's now been cancer free for over a year. But in that whole ordeal, yes, it did come with a lot of sleepless nights. It did come with a lot of pain and suffering from my mom going through those aspects of therapy. But our relationship is so much stronger. My love for my mom grew just because now she motivates me. My mom's my first full-time employee. Mom is my right-hand lady. Like, bro, even this decision, even being on this podcast, mom was like, "Oh, baby, I think you should really do it. Like, tell the world about what we doing here." So just love on your people more. Those people who made this you wrong, man, just know it wasn't probably meant or did intentionally. Sometimes it may be. And if it was, just learn from it.
Hmm.
But love on people because, man, that's one thing that the good Lord did tell us to do, was to have love. And if we love on people, even when people do us wrong, if we continue to still love on them, bro, our blessings come from heaven. They don't come from earth. So don't allow the things that happen to you on this earth to affect your heavenly Father and your heavenly position, because that's where it really matters at. But those be the three things, King.
I love it. I love it, man. So, how would you define someone who is breaking their glass ceiling?
Oh, man. So to define somebody breaking that glass ceiling, man, if you think about that, like visually think about it, right? You just punching through that mud. They probably got little scars. So they've been through some things.
Mm.
But the thing I like about it, they did not allow that room to keep them stagnant. We talk about glass ceiling and, you're seeing everything above and you're like, man, like, yo, what if I was able to go higher? And then those thoughts, you realize that you are still stuck. Person who breaks glass ceilings, they don't believe that that space, that pond, how some people say that, the fish won't outgrow the pond it's placed in. That pond now becomes an ocean. That ceiling now becomes the world. And if a person can break that glass, they can now have access to anything they ever wanted that's available in this world. We just gotta have the belief in ourselves that there's no ceilings to our life. And I'm glad it's a glass ceiling, so therefore we don't forget what new opportunities look like because they're endless. It's
Mm-hmm.
impossible to even calculate what could be manifested just by you saying, I'm willing to take this faith and this jump. That's what a glass ceiling breaker looks like to me, King.
Absolutely, man. I love it. So, anything coming up for you, Craig? Things you'd like to share with the audience? Things you'd like to, make us aware of? Projects you're working
Yes,
on?
sir. Oh, yes, sir. So, for anybody who is an aspiring entrepreneur or already in their own business, if you are looking for some capital to continue to grow your purpose, your passion, even this year, what I'm saying, your side hustle, man, let's tap in. Transformational Financial Solutions, we just don't fix credit, we transform lives. Been in business for 4 years, and four, not to say it's the longest time in the world, but man, it's been a lot of my peers. I looked around and they not beside me no more. And that reason was because they didn't have the right structure. They didn't have the right cash flow. They didn't have the right funding to really spend on growing their business. And 4 years is just the beginning, but 4 years is still a blessing because most businesses fail within the first two. So if you are a business owner, you are a person who wants to have an additional side hustle,
Mm-hmm.
but want to do it the right way, hey man, let's tap in. Hey, don't delay. Start your transformation today.
Hey, I like it. Got the very catchy. So, how can people stay connected to you, brother? Like, what are
Yes,
best
sir.
ways
Yes, sir.
to reach out and get
Well,
connected?
for anybody who want to get connected, I'm gonna show you my card here. Maybe you can see this on the screen. Take your phone out. You
Yeah.
scan the QR code. It'll take you
Awesome.
directly to information.
Nice.
It's the business card, by the way, too, man. Hey, y'all, if y'all see this floating around, people getting money out here. You feel
That's
me?
fresh.
But yeah, but yeah, just tap in. I'm on social media on Instagram platform. It should be young underscore CEO 2019. TikTok, we still getting there, but you can look up under Craig Chapman. But all in all, for the listeners today, for real, I open up. I'm a pretty well versed guy and don't mind entertaining direct conversations. I'll personally give out my contact number. It'll be 252-902-8984. That was 252-902-8984. If you do hear about this and you are interested for next steps, just text me the word, hey, podcast, saw it, love it, anything like that, and I can associate just in case we just want to support my brother here. Any type of business we do, want to basically give back to his business because man, this is an amazing platform to talk on. He's amazing as a guest or a host, and ultimately, man, this was a great conversation. Thank you, brother.
Absolutely, my man. And I appreciate you again. Just the vulnerability and the transparency and sharing your story because I believe that so many people are going to be inspired because it can show them that they also have that ability to achieve greatness. It's just about taking the right steps, man. So thank you, Craig, for coming on the show. This has been awesome.
Ah, man, likewise, King. Yes, sir.
We will see you guys soon on Breaking the Glass Ceiling.